Video showing the peaceful moments before a Colorado family and their 3-year-old son were kicked off of a Southwest flight. The family says they were booted at the captain's request over fears that their son might take off his mask due to a sensory disorder. Here to explain what happened is the Colorado mother who is sitting right there next to her son, Caroline Scott. Good morning, Caroline.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Tell us what happened.
So we were taking a trip to go visit my 94-year-old grandmother for the first time in almost 2 years because of COVID. We were super excited. I called the airline ahead of time because my son has something called sensory processing disorder, which is something that he feels sensations more intensely than others would. So, for example, sight, touch, things like that. So wearing a mask for Orion is challenging, but he can do it. He's been working really hard with his occupational therapist, with his doctors, with us as his parents. And so I had called the airline ahead of time just to let them know that my son had sensory processing disorder and that we didn't need an exemption. He can wear his mask and he will, but that if he had any frustration or difficulties, that we as his parents had the tools and skills that we needed to help him to cope with that and to keep his mask on. So when we got to the airport, Southwest Airlines had told us when I called them ahead of time that there would be no issue and that they would just add that information to his ticket. So that was a totally different story when we got to the gate. When we got to the gate to get a stroller tag, the gate agent noticed a note on his ticket and said, "We need to get a supervisor to approve you all to fly today," which was confusing because Southwest had told me that there wouldn't be an issue. So the supervisor arrived and walked us down to the plane where we were met by the co-pilot, who was super nice and friendly. He gave my son a little set of wings and said, "You can keep your mask on, right, buddy?" And my son said, "Yep," and showed him his Spider-Man mask. Then the captain arrived. The captain walked right past us into the cockpit, and the supervisor went over there to talk to him, and he was not explaining things correctly. He said something to the pilot of, this kid has some kind of facial issue where he might not keep his mask on.
Oh my gosh.
And I tried to interject. I tried to tell them that's not the situation.
Right.
He can keep his mask on. I have doctor's notes, a occupational therapist note, supporting us, but they wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't look at the notes. So we were walked off of the jetway. The supervisor then said, "Can you 100% guarantee that your son will keep his mask on?" And we said yes, and he can do it with our support. So then the trip was back on. We were excited. We get back on the plane. My son buckled his own seatbelt. Mask was on. No issues of any kind.
Okay.
And you could see the captain in the cockpit, and he was saying, "I will not make any exemptions. The rules are the rules." And so we're sitting in our seats. Then we get paged overhead, and it said that our family needed to press the call button.
Yeah, but the rules are if your kid can keep a mask on, which your son was doing, then he can fly on the plane.
Exactly.
So he never even took his mask off. You know what? This is just one of those stories. It depends on who you talk to on the phone. Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they say no. You can call back and get someone who's nicer the next time with any company. But you were just trying to be honest, and it backfired on you. You told them extra information.
Well, we were discriminated against. And so the supervisor in front of a plane full of people said, "I'm sorry, your family needs to get off the plane. The captain does not feel comfortable with your family on it today."
My goodness.
And we were deplaned not for our behaviors, but for disclosing my son's disability, which is discrimination.
Yes, and it's so stressful anyway to fly before COVID. Now you have to worry about the mask thing. We're all so scared to say anything on these planes because if you're not super nice or you don't just stay quiet, I feel like they're going to throw us off. So it's just so stressful anyway. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Did you ever hear a response from the airline?
So Southwest has sent me a blanketed statement of a specialist will be in touch within 30 days, but that's been it. And, families are going to be traveling this summer. And so this is not the first or the last time that it's going to happen. And I don't want this to continue to happen to other families.
Did you get your money back?
There might be a refund processing, but the ticket for Southwest was less than 5 times the amount that we had to spend on new tickets on a new airline.
And you never got to go see your grandmother, right?
I lost the day with my grandmother.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You haven't seen your grandmother?
Well, we saw my grandmother, but we missed out on a day and a half of our trip because of this.
Okay. Gosh, well, I'm so sorry. Caroline, thanks for coming on and telling your story. We did get a statement from Southwest. They said Southwest Airlines regrets any inconvenience. Southwest employees are working each day to ensure the requirements of the federal mask mandate with sensitivity during these challenging times. Thank you, Caroline. We wish you and your son, your precious son, all the best.